Hi, everyone, and welcome to week 7 lecture. So this week is the very last week of the course, and we are moving into our final. So I'm going to go through a few announcements, then do a few shout outs, then go over some reflections from our 6A and 6B discussion, and then leave you with some tips for your final paper and then your weekly checklist. So this week, there will be an optional Zoom. Of course, we're done with discussions and perusal readings, but if you would like to come just as the last session to say hello, goodbye, and to share anything about your special project, if you would like to just share with everyone what you studied, that will be Tuesday at 5:15. So if you need some extra points, that's a great time to come as well. So again, totally optional, and that is more so of just a culmination and a chance for you to share. So as far as perusal discussions, we are finished with all, let's see, 11 perusal discussions. So please go and check your score. If there's anything that you're not quite satisfied with, you may go back, view your scores, and add on to any of those assignments through the 19th. And contact me if you have any questions about how to do this to improve any of those scores. As far as all of your other assignments, Reflection 1, Reflection 2, and your discussion leader presentation, please check iCollege to read your feedback. Most of you have read your feedback. There's a few assignments that you might still need to check your feedback for. Please double check your grades so far. So I have finished grading all of the reflections and almost all of the discussion leader presentations. So please go view your feedback. I'm still working on discussion leader presentations for 6A and 6B, but other than that, they should be there for you to view, and please let me know if you're not seeing anything. So please double check your grades thus far as we kind of move towards the end, and please email me or reach out if you see anything that you have questions about or anything that I missed and haven't put in yet. So at this point, you should have 75 points, including all perusal discussions and your discussion leader presentation, because the final project is worth 25 points. So those are the main announcements for this week as you move into working on your final project. Before we get into the final project, I do want to give some shout outs. Since we are finished with our perusal discussions, I wanted to give some shout outs. Everyone has made an important contribution in one way or in another. I've been so honored to read all of your insights and perspectives and everything that you've shared, your personal experience, your reactions, your connections have been really engaging for me and for many in the class as well. So as far as active engagement time, almost half the class has spent more than 15 hours actively engaged in perusal, whether that be reading, making annotations. So here are all the people. So over 15 hours, we have Dree, Hannah, Catherine, Kendra, Lynn, Peyton, Justina, Lauren, Kate, Rashawn, Yazzie, Darla, Nikki, Lavelle, and Caitlin. And then over 20 hours of engagement, we have Asia, Ro, Maria, Saniqua, Tadrika, Beverly, Gabriella, Najala, Jeff, Kedra, and Karanji. And then we have 5 people who have over 30 hours of engagement in perusal over just the past 6 weeks. Katrina, Lisette, Adiola, Edward, and Carmen. So this really is a testament to all of your dedication to not only your craft, but society as a whole, your own personal education, and the community that has been built over this summer. So congratulations on all of this, and I really thank you. And again, feel honored to be a part of it. And then my last set of shout outs related to perusal is annotation. So in addition to active engagement spent, some people were very active with how many annotations that they did. So about a third of the class wrote more than 100 perusal annotations over the course of the 6 weeks that we were doing perusal. So we have Edward, Alex, Sierra, Ayana, Gabriella, Caitlin, Rashawn, Ro, and Ramisa have all over 100. Then Carmen, Karanji, Tadrika, Hannah, Asia, Nikki, Adiola, and then Lisette with 357 annotations. So I'm sure you recognize all these names if you're not up there yourself, because these are the people who are commenting in response to your comments, asking questions, answering your discussion questions if you're the discussion leader. So thank you so much for all of your contributions and engagement. I know that's really helped a lot of people in the class. And again, if I didn't mention you, that doesn't mean that you didn't make an important contribution. Like I said, every single person has made an important contribution in one way or another. There have been upvoted comments, things that people have looked into and researched outside of the class. So I really appreciate all of that work. Okay, so for the special topics project, thank you to those of you who emailed me a few questions. As promised, I did include them and update them in the expectations, just to make sure that everyone knows exactly what to do and what I am expecting. So for the final, it's one project, but two parts of the same project. So everyone has their special topic that I've approved. You have your feedback in iCollege. Again, if you haven't looked at that, I think almost everyone has, but if you haven't looked at that, do look at my feedback for your special topics project. So it's two parts. The first part is your presentation, and this presentation is the same format as your discussion leader presentation. So you will create an 8 to 10 minute video where you will introduce yourself and talk about the topic that you studied and what you learned from it. So a couple tips, 8 to 10 minutes, it's the same format like I mentioned. Do double check your audio if you're using Google Slides. Make sure that you have the share permission set to where everyone can listen. And the purpose of this part of the assignment is to get you practice talking about your work. So you've demonstrated that you can write about your work, both in your Perusall discussions, your reflections, and in your paper. This is your chance to practice talking about it and presenting it to the class. And the purpose is also so everyone in the class can hear about what you studied, and we can expand the breadth of what we covered over this short course. So that is worth 10 points. And then the complementary piece that's going with that is your paper, and that is worth 15 points. Now, the paper is 4 to 6 pages, and someone asked double space. Yes, double spaced. If you want a single space, that's okay. And if you need a little bit more length, that's okay as well. You won't lose points for going a little bit over. So 4 to 6 pages, double spaced, discussing the key issues related to your special topic. Whether that be the history of the topic, some of the perspectives related to race, ethnicity, class, gender in education, maybe key court cases, maybe current implications of the issue, and like maybe some challenges, and then if you have them, solutions. Depending on your topic, all of them are going to be a little bit different. It's important that in your paper you support, and also your presentation, because the information is the same that you're using for both. In your paper, you need to support your writing with evidence from 3 to 5 academic sources. So whether they be journal articles, books, or maybe academic articles, books, like chapters from books as well, that you might use to support your topic. So let me know if you're needing help to find some academic articles to support your topic, and I can help you do some searches there. You may use any reference style that you're comfortable with. APA is okay, Chicago style, whatever style of references that you are most comfortable using, you may use that in your paper. Now, you may also use course materials, the articles that we read. Almost all of them are academic texts. So if you want to use those, you may use those as your academic sources. And then any relevant media sources, whether it be articles from the news, whether it be articles from other popular media publications, magazines, web articles, blogs, any other media articles like that that you want to use to support your topic, you can definitely include. You can also include your personal experience as well. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on the next page. And the purpose of the written paper is to Apply the course concepts through crafting an academic paper that's discussing a relevant topic. So as I've been mentioning, this course is very short, but very important in terms of the subject matter. And due to not only the constraints of the summer, but even a semester, it's impossible to cover every important issue related to the social and cultural foundations of education. And so that's why you, as someone who has completed the course and the readings, are able to identify a topic that would be included under the umbrella of social and cultural foundations of education and carry out an academic paper where you consider the important issues related to that topic in a academic setting. So, excuse me, some tips and suggestions. So for the presentation, introduce yourself and feel free to explain why you chose the topic. You're talking to us about this topic that you chose. For most of you, it has some type of connection to either your personal experience or your work or something that you're interested in. So feel free to let us in on that as to why you chose this topic and why you think it's so important to consider. You should use first person when you're discussing what you found in doing your review of relevant articles related to your topic, crafting your paper, as well as your thoughts about them. So some of the best discussion leader presentations that I got the chance to listen to, not only did they recount the key points of the article that they were discussing, but they gave insight about their reaction to it, their questions to it, and brought in their own personal experience. So that's something that I want you to do in the presentation as well. Of course, the presentation is not long, 8 to 10 minutes. So you're just giving a brief overview of your project and discussing only on the key points. And feel free to use visuals as needed, video, audio. Again, do check the audio to make sure it's working. If you are wanting some guidance on your presentation, please email me and I can give you some discussion leader presentations that I think are really good examples for how to do this well. And again, that's worth 10 points. So that is the presentation. And then the paper. So for your paper, I want you to utilize headings to organize your paper. And it's going to be a little bit different based on everyone's topics. So I can't really give you what the headings are. But for instance, it might be like historical context. It might be something like current issues or solutions or policy issue, background issue about the topic. So do break your paper down into some headings. It's not a long paper, so you probably won't need too many headings, but do use that to help you organize your paper and make sure that you are conveying your key points about your topic in a very concise way since you are limited in space. As far as style, feel free to write your paper in first person, especially if you're including your own personal experience or your own relation to the topic. Third person is also okay if you prefer to write about the topic from that point of view. So either of those are appropriate. Please make sure that in your paper and presentation as well, that you have a clear connection to the course objectives. So these presentations are special topics within social and cultural foundations of education. And again, I've approved all the topics, so all the topics fit within that, but make sure that your writing adheres to that as well, and you come back. And if you're needing a little help with that, see all the readings, all the assignment themes, anything within that, and then also the course objectives on page 1 of the syllabus, if you just want to check and make sure that you are weaving in that connection all throughout your paper. Similar to making sure that you're clearly connecting to the course objectives, make sure that you're integrating those academic sources that you consulted. Again, those 3 to 5 academic articles or books, journal articles, like I mentioned, that you found. It should be clear that you have read them and that you're integrating those ideas to support what you are saying in your topic. And those are my tips and suggestions at this point. Now, this includes all of the questions that I've gotten so far. Again, any reference style that you're comfortable with is okay, double spaced. And all of you have done a great job in using your own creativity and your own style to make these assignments your own. And I want you to do that here as well. So as far as due dates, so there's 2 due dates. Let me just, while we're on the subject, go to them. So there's 2 due dates. There's one on Wednesday, July 17th. You know, we always have a Wednesday deadline for Perusall, so we're keeping that same deadline. And then the second one is Tuesday, July 16th, which is the day that finals begin for summer semester. So there's 2 parts to the project. There's the presentation, 10 points. There's the paper, 15 points. So you need to turn in one of those parts on Wednesday, July 17th. Oh, this should say 26th. And then the second part on Tuesday, July 26th. Let me go ahead and fix that right now. So you can choose which one you turn in which order. It might make sense to you to do the presentation first. So you turn that in first, or it might make sense to you to do the paper first. So whichever you choose to turn in, one is due the 17th, and then the other is due the 26th. And if you are turning in, the presentation, you will turn that in on the discussion board. 17th, 26th. Okay, so if you are turning in the presentation first, you will turn that in on the discussion board. So you will go to iCollege, you will go to discussions, and you already know how to upload your presentation here to discussion leader video presentations. The same thing is going to be here, except it's going to be the second discussion, final presentation, special topics. You can start a thread with your name, the title of your presentation, and link your video presentation. So that's where you will turn in your presentation. These will be accessible to the whole class. So feel free to view other people's presentations and leave a comment. If you watch them, give them some feedback and encouragement on their work. Now for the paper will be turned in under assignments, final paper, special topics. Thank you to the 2 people who've already turned it in. So that is where the paper will go. Now, a few people asked, they came to Zoom, they said that they would be interested in reading other people's papers. If you would like to also upload your paper along with your presentation to the message board on the discussion, you may do that as well. So that is where you will turn in those assignments. So again, the first due date is the 17th, and then the second one is the 26th. You can choose the order that you turn in those assignments. And again, email me with any questions, and I will compile frequently asked questions or another video if needed to go over that. Okay, so some reflections about the final discussions that we did last week, 6A and 6B. So we read a variety of articles. Again, there was great engagement about them, great discussion leader presentations, and great discussion questions. So one of the main themes that came through in your Perusall discussions during 6A, particularly in the article about Arab Americans, the experience of Muslim American students, and how politics and events such as 9/11 have exacerbated some of the exclusions and oppression committed against these students and their families, centered around this idea of how politics can be used to other and exclude and marginalize groups of people. Also, this theme came up over hyper-invisibility, shifting to within the matter of how an issue was politically framed to hyper-visibility and the impact that that had. There were also great comments about some of the negative stereotypes about how how people have seen these in their own personal lives and their own experiences. And then in the last article about the Muslim women principles and how they interrogated some of the common stereotypes and then infused some of the assets of their culture to create a really robust educational experience for their students. There were also really great comments and discussion in the article written by Cheryl Matias about critical whiteness studies. A lot of great talk about white teachers, the overrepresentation of white teachers, the cultural mismatch and the impact of that, and the responsibility that we white teachers have in making sure that we are taking the time to be culturally competent, taking the time to plan lessons that are culturally relevant and be aware. That was another thing that came up in the first articles as well, about in actually all the articles, about the importance of not just understanding the attributes of a culture, but understanding the ways that systems continue to perpetuate oppression against certain groups of people. And so that came up, and there was really great discussion about that. And then our very last discussion, I thought, was one of the most powerful ones we've had so far, considering the impact of poverty and economic exclusion on students, families, teachers. So one thing that really stood out to me was this increasing threat of poverty. So we've seen how, and again, coming back to discussion themes in 6A about how the role of politics, for instance, the removal of the additional childhood tax credit that was offered during COVID that helped eliminate childhood poverty for a large number of children, being rolled back. And so now we're seeing increases in child poverty. A lot of people correctly mentioned the threat of inflation and how that will continue to impact this issue. So there were a lot of really poignant comments in there, suggestions that people have used. And so many of you have personal experience working with students who are experiencing economic insecurity. And you really showed a lot of care in terms of not only how you support students in the day-to-day, but how you challenge deficit mindsets to really lead with care in how you teach. And then our final article is about gentrification and displacement. There was also great engagement there, a lot of personal experiences seeing this happen in neighborhoods that you teach in, maybe family members' neighborhoods that you grew up with, seeing this change, and really contextualizing this again in this theme of politics, how politics and policy have impacted some of these issues, which in turn impacts schools. And then especially in the last article about displacement that took place in Atlanta, I thought that the discussion of the cheating scandal really paired nicely with some of the themes that we've considered in this course overall. So great job on this final discussion. And hopefully we can continue the discussion going just a little bit over the coming weeks in iCollege in response to other people's special presentations. It's not a requirement, but I think that would be great. And everyone has just been so engaged so far. So I'm hoping to see that. And of course, there's no new readings for this week. So here is your checklist going into week 7, the last week before finals week. So again, there is an optional Zoom discussion. This is just the course culmination. If you come to that, you can feel free to share any insights or readings or anything from the course that really resonated with you, any topics that you wanted to share about, or also if you wanted to share about your special topic presentation, how it's going, what you're finding. Again, that will be at 5:15. So by Wednesday, July 17th, you will turn in one part of your special project, either the presentation or the paper. And then by Tuesday, July 26th, you will turn in the other part, your presentation or your paper. So those are the announcements for this week. I know that many of you are going to be gearing to go back to work in another week or so. So please make sure that you enjoy the last bits of vacation if you're on vacation. And I hope that the rest of your Georgia State classes are going well. And if at any time you get stuck on any of your projects, please reach out. I don't want you to get frustrated and waste time. So if you hit a roadblock, let me know and I'll help troubleshoot to get you moving forward. So have a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Hopefully, even if you haven't come to any Zooms, feel free to come this Tuesday, even if you can't stay the whole time, just to pop in and say hi. I would love to see you. So thank you so much and have a great week.